You know, we're about to go on a pretty interesting journey, following the trail of something most of us just, throw away and forget about trash. But what if I told you that trail doesn't just lead to a landfill? What if it could lead to a gold mine? And it all kicks off with a problem that honestly most businesses just completely ignore. It's one of those things that's hiding in plain sight, right there on the factory floor or buried in a budget spreadsheet. It's basically the hidden cost of business as usual. Okay, look at this number, 10 lakh rupees. Now, for one company, this was the yearly bill for a problem they just assumed was, well, a normal part of doing business. Yep, that's it. That's how much it was costing a company called Swift Packaging Ltd. just to get rid of their waste. We're talking scraps, mistakes, rejected stuff. They were literally throwing money in the trash. So that really gets you thinking, right? What if you could follow that trail of trash and find, well, a hidden treasure? That's exactly what we're going to do. We'll follow this path from tiny little fixes all the way to massive transformations, and you'll see how just changing how you think about waste can change, well, everything. All right, first stop on our journey, the factory floor at Swift Packaging. And the thing is, the problem here wasn't some huge catastrophic failure in strategy. Nope, it all started with the tiny, easy-to-miss details. So you can just imagine it. The place is just piling up with junk. You've got packaging scraps everywhere, cartons that are no good, stacks and stacks of misprinted labels, and all of that adds up to that big 10 lakh rupee headache we talked about. But then a new intern, Anaya, shows up and starts asking some interesting questions. So what did Anaya do? She suggested something called a lean waste audit. Now, the key thing to get here is that this isn't just about digging through garbage cans. It's way bigger than that. It's like a special method for hunting down inefficiency wherever it's hiding, whether that's defects, people waiting around, or just wasted movement. It's all about making the whole operation smarter. And what she found was pretty stunning, actually. After she tracked everything, it turned out that one single badly calibrated machine was causing a whopping 40% of all the defective products. Just think about that. One machine was costing the company an absolute fortune. And here's the best part. Once they knew the real problem, the fix was actually pretty simple. A little bit of process tweaking, some better training, and boom, they cut their waste by 35% in just 1 month. I mean, that's a massive win from what started as a simple audit. Okay, so from there, let's move on to our next example and see how this idea evolves. We're going to shift gears now from physical trash to something that's even harder to see, but just as expensive: wasted energy. So let's talk about Bright Tech Electronics. Their big problem wasn't piles of junk. It was an energy bill that was just astronomical. And the reason was simple. They had all this old machinery just running 24/7, humming away, even when no one was even in the room. Then along comes this young engineer, Ravi, with a solution that was just brilliant in its simplicity. Step 1, put smart sensors on the machines so they shut themselves off when they're not being used. Step 2, get rid of the old power-hungry lights and install motion-activated LEDs. Makes sense, right? And the result of these simple changes? A huge 40% savings on their energy bill. Now that's money they could pour back into R&D, into creating new things. It just goes to show you, tackling waste isn't just a cleanup job. It's about freeing up your resources so you can actually innovate. So up to this point, we've been looking at some smart, tactical fixes. But what happens when the problem isn't just one machine or one bill? What if the problem is your entire business model? Well, now we're going to level up, from just fixing systems to completely transforming them. Meet Greyworks Cement. Now, these guys were a huge deal in their industry, a top producer. But there was a dark side. They were also a top polluter. They were getting hammered by the local community, getting official warnings from the government. I mean, this was a real, full-blown crisis for them. So how did they get out of it? They decided to fully embrace something called green manufacturing. And this isn't just tinkering around the edges. We're talking about a complete, top-to-bottom rethink of their entire operation. The whole goal is to shrink your environmental footprint as much as you possibly can. And just check out what happened when they did. They replaced their old fossil fuel kilns with new biofuel ones. They started recycling water and, get this, cut their water use by 60%. And not only did they get this big deal environmental certification, they also saved 30 lakh rupees on their utility bills. So, yeah, it was good for the planet, but it was also fantastic for business. Okay, let's push this idea even further. So we've talked about cutting down on waste, about going green, but what if we could get rid of the idea of waste altogether? This leads us to probably the biggest, most powerful concept of all, the circular economy. This quote right here from Ishita, the CEO of a textile company called Aqua Fabrics, just says it all. We need to become circular. It's a powerful statement, basically saying the old way of doing things just isn't going to cut it anymore. And this really shows you what she's talking about. The old model, the linear one, was a dead end. You take resources, you make something, and then you just throw it away. Simple. But the circular model, that's totally different. It closes the loop. You make something, you use it, and then you figure out how to reuse or upcycle it. You keep those materials going instead of just chucking them. So how did Aqua Fabrics actually pull this off? Well, first, they took all their scrap fabric and created a brand new product line they called Reweave. Then they told their customers, hey, bring us back your old clothes and we'll upcycle them. And even the tiniest little scraps that were left over, they gave those to local artisans to use. Literally, nothing went to waste. And the impact was just incredible. A 70% drop in waste. But it gets better. Reweave became a massive hit with customers who were looking for sustainable brands to support. So see, they didn't just fix a waste problem, they ended up creating a whole new market for themselves. Okay, so we've seen what one intern, one engineer, and one CEO can accomplish. For our last stop, let's pull the camera way, way back. What happens when an entire city decides to buy into all these ideas? Let me introduce you to EcoTown. This is a city that looked at its problems and decided to go all in, putting all of these pieces together. They started doing community waste audits, just like Anaya did. They built huge solar-powered industrial parks, basically Ravi's idea on a massive scale. They pushed local industries to get green certifications, like Greyworks did, and they helped create circular supply chains, just like Aqua Fabrics. They did it all. And what happened when they combined all of that? This, a 50% reduction in the entire city's waste in 1 year. That is the power of thinking about the whole system, not just the individual parts. And you know what? It wasn't just about the trash. The benefits went so much further. By becoming this beacon of sustainability, EcoTown suddenly became a super attractive place to live and work. New green jobs popped up. The city's reputation grew, which brought in more tourists. The economic payoff just rippled through the whole community. So when you look back at this whole journey, you realize that waste, it's not just garbage. It's a signal. It's pointing you toward a hidden opportunity. An opportunity to save money, sure, but also to innovate, to build a stronger brand, maybe even to build a better community. And that really just leaves one last question, doesn't it? In your world, in your system, where is that hidden opportunity waiting for you?